Hey everybody, this is Russin with Metalholic, and of course today with us as promised, Arkadius from Suidakra, or Suidakra, as you were just saying it, and I probably still butchered it, but thanks for taking the time to talk with us today. How you doing, man?
Thanks, I'm doing fine. Thank you for this interview. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Absolutely. Well, I got to say at the outset, I want to talk about it in a little bit, but at the outset I want to tell you the new album, Eternal Defiance, is awesome. Great job you guys did. I was wondering where you were going to go after Book of Doubt, and you did an exceptional job.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice to hear. I mean, it means a lot to me, you know, especially when you just put in so much work and passion. And that's really nice to hear, man.
Absolutely. So let's back up, though, a little bit. You guys will celebrate during the tour cycle for the new album your 20th year. Are you surprised that 2 decades have passed already?
Yeah, of course. Sometimes, you know, when you just meet fans after the show, you just ask them, how old are you? And they tell you, I'm 16. Then you, looking back, all right, when we just started with the band, you were born. So that kind of makes you feel old sometimes. Yeah, but when you're just always busy, you know, with touring, writing new albums, you know, the time passes by like hell, you know.
And the band's sound has seen a steady evolution over the years. Does that have more to do with your growth as a person or as a songwriter?
I would say it's kind of a mixture of both facts. I mean, of course, I always work on myself as a songwriter. But the same when you getting older, you get a little bit more open-minded to different kind of styles, and you see the whole process of songwriting a little bit different. So I would say it's a mixture of both.
Now you guys sort of helped pioneer the marriage of folk and Celtic influences in metal. Where do you see your place in the legacy of this genre of metal?
It's really funny because, you know, when we just started to combine these two elements, we never thought about or something like a pioneer stuff. We just did it, you know, without thinking too much of what if it will have an influence or not. I would say, you know, Suidakra is very, I don't know, I would say the special thing about Suidakra, you know, in this genre is that we are still alive, and because I have seen so many bands coming up, you know, in this whole pagan stuff and disappearing, you know, and we never looked to the right or left, you know, we never compared ourselves with any trends or stuff like that, and I think this is one of the facts why we are still alive.
The last few albums, as I said, there's been a progression, and each one's gotten, you always want every album to be better. They've all been different and unique in their own way, and they've shown a real progression and growth in the songwriting. But with your last album, Book of Doubt, that really elevated the band's status globally. I mean, you guys did a ton of touring behind it. You ended up on a lot of best of year-end lists when that came out. Did that bring added pressure when you sat down to write the 11th album, Eternal Defiance?
To be honest, not really, because every time we just start to write new material, we don't look back what happened before. No matter if it's you know, the press reaction, fan reaction, or no matter of you know, what the status of the band is, you know, worldwide or just local. Because when we just start writing new songs, we totally concentrate and focus on that songwriting. And for us, it's something like, you know, writing the first album ever. So, and that kind of takes the whole pressure out of us, you know.
And tell us a little bit about how the songwriting process works in Suidakra, because I always thought you were sort of the principal songwriter, but I was never sure. How does the songwriting process work for you guys?
Usually, you know, the basic thing happens here at home, at my home studio, not in the rehearsal room, because, you know, when you're just creating concept albums, it wouldn't really work out for us, you know, to meet each other in a rehearsal room with 4 guys, because I think it's important that the basics are written by one person, who is really deep into the subject. So usually I write the whole melodies and guitar stuff at home, just share it with Chris Revan, who created the lyrical concept. And after that, we meet in the rehearsal room and work on the details, on the drum lines, on bagpipes and stuff like that.
But well, tell us, from your perspective, about the new album, Eternal Defiance.
Eternal Defiance is for me one of the most epic, but at the same time kind of romantic albums we've ever did. And what I like most about this album is the fact that we just introduced this orchestral stuff, because I've already had this passion for movie soundtracks, but I never had the chance to add it to the Suidakra sound. But when the other guys from the band listened to some compositions, they thought it would be cool. So we just it was like a try, we didn't know if it's gonna work out, because it was really hard to keep the balance between this orchestration and the heaviness of the band. So it was much more time. I invented much more passion into the songwriting, but at the same time, it was the best adventure and the best challenge I've ever had with the band.
Nice. And what's sort of the story or the concept behind the album?
The story is based on a Welsh legend, which is called The Dream of Maximum Ladding. This is the main character of the story, and it's sometimes really hard to explain in a few sentences because it's so detailed. But basically, the story deals with his life. When he just joined the Roman army, then became the Roman emperor, went to Britain, became a Celtic emperor, then destroyed Roman. This is the historical part of the main character, and there is also mythological element, like he had some visions and he became immortal. Then he was beheaded at the end of the story and kept on living. He was cursed by immortality, living as a hat, And it has a lot of different elements, kind of exciting story.
You create music that's very cinematic. Like you said, you love film. It's very cinematic, it's big, it's dramatic. When you write the songs or the music, put these things together, do you visualize them on some level rather than simply hear them in your head? I mean, is there imagery dancing around in your head?
Yeah, the thing is that before I write some notes or some stuff, first of all, I read the concept, the lyrical concept, and during reading the concept, I have all these visions in my head. And the same thing happened when I just writing the music, because this is also the main thing, which kind of story we choose as a band. The main thing is that it inspires us, So when I read a good story and then I have some pictures in my head or visions, then I know, okay, this is a really cool story. We can move on with this for the lyrical concept. And it was like, for me, it's always like, watching a movie inside my head and just composing the tracks, yeah.
Now, you guys once again engaged Tina, I don't know how she pronounces it, Stabel. It's always different when it's European, but...
it's Stabel.
Stabel, there you go.
Yeah.
So you once again...
Stable sounds good.
So you once again brought Tina in. Her vocal presence is on the album as it's been on, I think, 3 previous albums at least. I understand she even contributed a bit to the songwriting this time around.
Yeah, in the past, usually her tribute was just to sing the vocal lines we've created, or we did some cover versions, and she was singing that, or some re-recorded songs, because she was a real guest musician, But, the work between the band and Tina get much closer from album to album, and this time I thought it would be a cool thing just to involve her into the whole story, that she knows what the whole album is going to be, and I also wanted to write the song with her together, not, just writing the finished song and just send it to her and say, oh, blah, 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 just try something out, that sounds cool. No, we just met each other in my home studio and we started to... I didn't even had an idea on the guitar. It just came out when we were just jamming for the first time. She was singing, I was playing, and that was how the whole material with Tina just became alive.
Now, which song or songs did she write with you? Did you guys work on together?
It was the Mind song, of course, because on that song I didn't want to introduce the typical Suidakra melodies on the acoustic guitar. I just thought it would be cool to use only the chords and to let more space for her voice. So she had a big effect on that song. She also just played the piano on that song, and of course the song Beneath Red Eagle. I had only one idea, but the way of singing, she just contributed to the song, influenced the whole structure of the song.
Nice. And her voice really adds a nice extra texture to it that really gives the album some depth, I think, too. So I know all the songs are like children to you, but are there one or two tracks on Eternal Defiance that have maybe some extra significance for you or stand out in some way?
Yeah, for me personally, it's Dragon's Head, because when I was writing that song, the story is very tragic. It's a tragic story, because Maxim, after he became king and emperor and stuff like that, he had some visions that he's gonna die. So he's very scared of his visions, and then he made some bad choices in his life, and then the choices he made they led to his death, and it wasn't really easy to combine this epic, tragic atmosphere, and the way I composed this track is totally different than other Suidakra songs, because it's based only on two melody lines that are, but you do not hear it. This song contains only two melody lines because it's very cool structured and stuff like that. So this track is pretty cool, and when I, at the end of the song, when I sing the lines, Magnus the Emperor is dead, and then the violin comes in, which sounds very melancholic. I think this is a pretty cool part.
So now, for those in America who are not as familiar with Suidakra yet, tell us about your path to music and who or what influenced your style.
When we started with the band, at the beginning it was just something like a school project. We just wanted to do some cover versions of metal bands we loved, but after that it became something more, professional. And at the beginning, the big influence on Suidakra were bands like the early In Flame albums, and like Subterranean and Lunar Strain, as well as bands like Amorphous or Blind Guardian. Then later, after the first two albums, we also had some black metal influences, from bands like Emperor, because playing in a band like Suidakra is for me like, looking back to it, it's like for me looking into a family portrait. You see this different kind of styles that influence you. Sometimes it's very funny to see older interviews or pictures. And this is the cool thing about the band, because we are not making the same shit over and over again. It's really cool progress. But these were the bands that basically influences in the earlier days. Right now, I have to admit that there are not that many other influences, because we found our style and we're just influenced by so many different music, even not only metal, so it's really hard to say it's a special band.
Right. Well, was there a point growing up for you, sort of that moment of epiphany, if you will, where whether it was an album, a song, a concert, where the light bulb just went off for you and you said, this is what I want to do with my life, my path will be music?
Yeah, that was during the Lace from Afar album, which was released in 1999. It was the first time we went on tour. I remember, I won't forget it, because we were picked up by the Nightliner. We were the first band in the Nightliner, and then we had to drive 200 kilometers to pick up another band. And I was sitting in the bus and just thinking like, wow, this is a really cool life, and this is what I want to do, And at the same time, we just were in this stage one studio for the first time, which also was very professional. So that was kind of a turning point where everything became much more professional, because at the beginning you just record some demo tapes, at a friend's house, play local shows in front of your friends there, and 50% of them do not even hear or listen to metal, So I would say that was 99.
Now, Suidakra has been one of the few German bands to come to America to tour, because it's becoming more difficult for European bands to come over here. Will we be seeing you here in support of the new album, do you think?
I hope. I don't think it's going to be this year, but we really working on plans maybe to come back to the States next year. I hope it will work out, because as you mentioned, it's not that easy with all visa stuff and stuff like that. But unfortunately, the fact that we've been there 4 times before makes it sometimes even easier for us to get a visa. There's the American embassy in Frankfurt. Every time we are there, the people knows us already. And last time we were there for the visa interview, we were just leaving, and the security guy was listening to the Ninth Legion, which was pretty funny.
All right, so just a couple of questions for fun before we get out of here.
Right.
You've toured all over the world. What's the strangest thing you've eaten on tour, and where was it?
There were a couple of strange things in China, and the most strange thing about them is that I do not even know what was inside. So there was kind of salad, but it was not with vegetables. So it tasted awful. So after the second day in China, I decided only to go to McDonald's.
It's funny, we're hated around the world, but everybody loves our fast food. Go figure.
Yeah, this is the thing that you can be sure what it tastes like, So no experiments at all. Before we get sick or stuff like that, we want to choose the safe path, and then we go to McDonald's whenever we have doubts.
All right, so I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me 5 essential metal albums the 5 essential metal albums you have to have in your collection.
All right. For me, it's definitely Death with the Human album. Blind Guardian, Nightfall in the Middle-earth, what's the price? It's also Amorphous, Nightfall, Tales from a Thousand Lakes for me. And I also love Gorefest with their album Falls. So it's kind of the harder stuff, not that accept, blah, blah, blah.
Nice. So our pointless question of the week. If you could eliminate one current pop culture trend or person, who or what would it be?
It will be definitely hip-hop. The whole hip-hop. Because it's so much cliche.
Nice.
I would erase the whole scene.
Awesome. Arkadius from Suidakra, the new album Eternal Defiance, phenomenal album out now. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us. Hopefully we'll get to see you back here in the States, and just continue to keep making these great albums, man, because every one just keeps getting better and better. You guys are really making a name for yourselves.
Oh, thank you. We will do it for sure. So thanks for the interview, Rustin.
Absolutely, brother, and we'll talk with you soon.